on a moment. Okay, so hello everyone, good evening and welcome to our McCarthy Nation call. It is the 12th of November, very exciting, 2017. My name, for anyone who doesn't know me, is Caroline Stalker. I'm an area manager within Danny Wells area and under Carol Sutton-Houghton. So it's brilliant to see you all this evening. So what we're going to do is, let's see if I can manage to do this. I think without further ado, I'm going to quickly share my screen because got a little presentation. Here we go. Alrighty. So here we go. So Caroline Stalker, that's me. So I'm going to do a little presentation in a moment, but just before we do that, we've got some new ICs this week, so brilliant news. So we've got the lovely Becca Clark, sponsored by Claire Gratian, hooray! Deb Stacey, sponsored by District Manager and Qualification Lisa Mann, yay! Debbie Fox, sponsored by Danielle Lazarus, hi Debbie. Julie Roston, that's right, sponsored by Emma Dickinson, hi Julie. And Natasha Haggard, sponsored by National Vice President of Qualification, woo! Laura Leggett. Georgina Evans, sponsored by District Manager Sarah Chapman, and Sharon Lovett, sponsored by District Manager Keely Rowland, and last of all Aisha Payne, sponsored by District Manager and Qualification Donna Wrighton. So well done and great decision everybody. So lovely to see you all. Right, I think we're just going to mute everyone. Okay, right, lovely. Okay, so that's all of our new independent consultants this week. Great to see you all. Let's see if I can manage to... What have I done to my computer? Okay, so got a few dates for your diary. So the first one, super exciting, is we've got Carol Sutton-Houghton, woo, new Regional Vice President. Her car presentation, super exciting. So for your diary, 3rd of December, do not miss it. These are amazing events and they are brilliant for building your own belief. You can bring along guests, people to come and see what we get up to. Brilliant for a little bit of photo opportunity as well. Share with all your friends. So that is at the Cambridge Belfry Hotel. So we're going to have booking open soon for tickets, so watch out for when they go on sale. That's that. We've got 3 Discover Arbons sort of locally coming up. I know we have got a couple of others that aren't on here. I don't know if you can see the whole screen there. Can you see the whole screen, or have you got people in the way? Vaguely. Okay, so we've got one this coming Monday in Stamford with Fiona McCarthy and Tracy Jones. Then we've got on the left there in Northampton, Dr. Laura Millard, which will be amazing, and Leanna Hallam. And then 23rd of November, we've got one in Melton Mowbray with Daniela Wells and Jade as well. Brilliant. So that'll be a great event. I do know I've seen a couple of others, one in Edinburgh and one down in somewhere in Essex. So do look, if you haven't got access to the Arbon Opportunities Facebook group, there is that group where you can see other Discover Arbons that are happening around the country, but these are 3 that are sort of local to a lot of the teams, so do get down to those with your guests if you can. Let's see, where's we going next? So other things just for your diary before we go into tonight's training. We've got 4th of December Nation training coming up, including the recognition dinner beforehand for those of you who've met the criteria for the recognition. So make sure you know what you've got, what you need to do to be at that dinner, and make sure you get along to that Nation training, so that will be fantastic. We've got 9th of December Christmas party in Cambridge, on the boat in Cambridge. It's going to be a brilliant evening. I think Lisa is going to write out to those of you who have already paid deposits over the next few days to follow up with paying the balance. I think it's £35 actually, not 25, for people, anyone who is not already coming. There are some last remaining tickets, so do let us know, and you can contact Lisa directly if you want to go on that, or let your sponsor know if you want to come to the party. It's going to be amazing. We know how to party in Arbon. Okay, well, for your diary, a little bit, couple of months away, but 4th of February is our next Nation Leadership Academy, and that will be an amazing day, so make sure that is in your diary now. What else have we got? Don't forget, obviously, we've got the AI trip, doubling your PQV in November if you sponsor an IC or PC with over 250 QVs in November. So do just keep an eye on that and make sure that you take advantage in November, which would be brilliant. Next thing was festive cash incentive. So do remember to go onto your dashboard and check that there's an opportunity for up to £360 in your December pay. If you do various things in terms of levels of QV and some sponsoring and helping people to promote within your team. So go and check where you are against those and see what you can get to get a few extra pennies in to pay for those Christmas presents. We've also got the next 30 days programme starting on the 20th of November, with preparation starting on from this week. The one that we've just had running for the last week or so has been absolutely amazing. There's been some brilliant videos and things that have gone into that, and some amazing information. So do get all your clients onto this next programme by having bought an ASVP for the 30 days, get themselves all clean and lean before the Christmas onslaught. Okay, what else have we got before the month end? I know we're only in mid-month at the moment, but do make sure that you get your 150 PQV on your own account in order that you get paid by the end of the month. We've had a couple of occasions where people have got more than 150 QV in their success line, so people that they've sponsored, but it hasn't necessarily had 150 PQV gone through their own shop, and then that means that you don't actually get paid for that month. So do just double check that before the end of the month. And then the last thing that I was just going to pop on here was that obviously we've got Black Friday, which is becoming a massive thing now in this country as well as in the States. Starting the Friday is 24th of November. This is a massive sales period coming up now. I think I looked it up and it says that about 30 to 40% of all sales, all annual sales in retail, are done between Black Friday and Christmas Eve. So if you haven't got your diary full, I would say go out there and get your diary filled up, because I think they reckon that the average shopper's got about $1,000 or $1,000 to spend in that period. So go make sure that you've got getting your share of that, and think about how you can use Black Friday. So run some Black Friday sales or something like that over that weekend to take advantage. Okay, right. So well done to everyone, and make sure you've got all those dates in your diary. So what I was going to do tonight was, with Danny and I sort of talked a little bit about what to do the training on this evening, and I was just going to do a little bit of training about how to build a strong business, and in particular kind of how to treat your business as a business. So I know that there's a few people on here who maybe just like want to do a little bit here and there, but for a lot of us, actually this is something that we want some actual income from. And so for me personally, when I came on board, I wanted to be able to build a business. And I think that Danny said that's kind of how, like, right from the very beginning, I approached it as a business. So I was just going to tell you a little bit about my story and to show you kind of what's possible, and to give you a few tips as we go through. Now, I'm conscious that I've probably got about enough material here to fill up the entirety of a whole day. So I'm just going to cover it at a fairly high level. For those of you who've been to the leadership session, we've got the Acceleration Academy today, I think quite a few of the messages that I've put on here are similar to the messages that were on there. So hopefully that will kind of be useful and reinforce what you've heard already. Okay. So just a little bit about me first, for anyone who doesn't know me. So I'm married to Andrew, who is an anaesthetist. My husband's an anaesthetist. He used to work with me at a high street bank before, and then had a career change when he was 34. So he works crazy shift patterns and so on, which means that really restricts my ability to kind of do a normal job. I've got 3 children who are now 10, 8 and 6, who are amazing, have a million activities and increasingly cost me lots of money. So again, I have to be around for the children. So again, that was really important for me in terms of how I could have a business I could run around them. I was previously about 15 years working at Barclays as a project manager and strategy manager. And then when I had my second daughter, I realised that wasn't really a realistic career choice for me. So then I bought a franchise, and I've been self-employed for the last 8 years running baby classes, and I still have that franchise today, and I still run that at the moment. So for the first 5 months that I was in Arbonne, I worked 4 days a week on my other business, and I just did Arbonne kind of evenings and weekend evenings really. And then for months 5 to 8, I did 3 days a week. So I dropped one of my days, and then we went on holiday for the entirety of month 9 last October. And then since then, when I came back after the summer holiday, I now do about 2.5 days a week on my other business, and I do Arbonne the rest of the time. and I was sponsored by Regional Vice President Carol Sutton-Houghton in about September of 2016. She spoke to me. I was duly unimpressed with the idea of Arbonne at that stage. So if you ever are worried about prospects that you talk to not biting your hand off, I was not that prospect. I told her I was definitely not interested. My head would explode. I think I wrote, if I did anything else, I was super busy, and I didn't really understand why network marketing was for me. I didn't use products. I pretty much said no on every count. And Carol was brilliant. She just followed the process. She followed the GoPro pretty much, and the Jerry Rosenthal how to do one-to-one. She used those very exact questions with me. And then in November, I suddenly had this epiphany and decided that this was the best thing that had ever happened to me. It was a dream come true, and I jumped in. Although at that point, I was still a little bit skeptical about how this was going to work and if it was something that was for me. But I still thought, right, I'll get involved. I was kind of looking for a new challenge and an additional income. I'd recently moved to a village to be in a good school catchment, and that was proving pretty expensive with an additional big mortgage. So from that point of view, I was kind of interested, but I didn't necessarily see why it's for me. But when I came on board, I basically came on board with the goal that I only really wanted to join Arbonne if I could be regional vice president, because I was like, I've got another business, and this needs to kind of really work for me financially for it to be something that I want to do. So that was, I suppose, I had a pretty clear vision in my mind that was what I wanted to happen. And so for me personally, I was like, right, I need to start this. I need to start it quickly and make this happen as fast as I possibly can in order to get to that level. So what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today is like what I've done to get there, so that then if there's anything that hopefully that's helpful for some of you, and you can see kind of where you might want to take your business. Okay, so my little bit of facts and figures. So I joined in November 2016. I completed district within a couple of months. In April, I went to the Global Training Conference in Las Vegas, which is completely amazing. And I cannot recommend that highly enough. That completely transformed my level of commitment to the business, and my vision for where I was going to take this. In May, I completed area, so that was 6 months after joining. And in September, then I went to Glasgow with lots of us from this nation, and attended the annual Arbonne conference in Glasgow. And at the conference, I was the winner of the 1 in 10, which is for highest level of central district QV. So you have to have over 10,000 QV in your central district, and also have sponsored the highest number of people, which was really exciting. So I got my money back, had my entry fee paid at AAC, which is brilliant. In October, then we almost got to region qualification. We were at 32,000 QVs, which is really, really exciting through my team. And our plan is to go into region qualification in November and complete in December, which if we do that, that will be 13 months from me starting. And as a minimum, we want to be there by the end of Q1 2008. So we're on the stage as new region at the next GTC in April, which is very exciting. Okay, so just to give you a bit of an idea, because I think this is sometimes it's been really helpful for me to see other people's QV growth, and hopefully this will be helpful for you, because sometimes at the beginning you've got to keep the faith that your business is going to grow in the future. So the work you're putting in at the beginning is what's going to deliver you benefits later on. So just to give you a bit of an impression of what happened. So in December, I did 5,000 QVs. Now, partly that was me having done some initial launch parties and so on. Additionally, probably like it'll be this month, it was AIT double points, and I wanted to go on the trip. So I just did a bit of investment in December. January then was 3,000. February, I sponsored a few new ICs, I think 3 or 4 ICs in February. So we did 7,500. Then March was back to 5. Then April, we had the half price joining for ICs, and I sponsored 6 ICs in the week before we went to GTC, and then there was some like new products and stuff that came out in April, so that was what took us to 13,000. May was 11,000. That's when I completed area. And then June and July we sat at about 13,000. So we were kind of, by July we were pretty much into the beginnings of the summer holiday. Personally, obviously, I've got my children, and a lot of the other people in my team have children. So July and August is a tricky time for us because we've got a lot of build up to the summer holidays. And we had a little dip again in August, 11,500. And then from September, we started to see this exponential growth that people talk about. And I'll show you that in a minute. So we've then gone from sort of 13-ish thousand up to 20,000 in September, 32,000 in October, and we're aiming for between 40 and 50,000 in November, which is really amazing. So if you're sitting here now thinking, I've done a few months and I haven't, I'm just seeing quite low levels of QV at the moment, part of it is you've got to understand that your business can grow in this exponential way, which is kind of quite surprising. Okay, so in terms of sponsoring, I've sponsored, I think it's 18 consultants myself personally, and we've currently, in the team in total, we've currently got about 25 active consultants who are all growing their business, which is brilliant. I've got a kind of slightly scruffy drawing there, so apologies for that, but hopefully you can see. Along the top, I've got 4 districts who are all growing. 3 of those at the moment, we've got a bonusing at about 5,000 QVs or more, and looking to move towards area over the next few months, which is really super exciting. And then I've got loads. We've got 9 district managers in qualification who are all actively moving towards completing districts over the next couple of months. And between us as a team, we sponsored 79 PCs and ICs in October, which is just incredible because that just means that we're just getting that exponential growth. So if each one of the people in the team, if each of 25 consultants all sponsor 1 or 2 extra consultants in a month, obviously you then start to get incremental growth, exponential, which is amazing. So here we go. Right. So that being my kind of stats, I suppose, I've just got 10 tips of things that I've learned over this last year through growing my team that I'm hoping will be helpful for people. Okay, so the first one is you have to have a really strong and clear why, so that you understand what it is that gets you up out of bed and not going to sleep until the work's done every single day. So I was already super, super busy. I had got all this stuff with my children, my husband's never available, this sort of thing. And so for me to be able to grow my Arbonne business, I had to make sacrifices, and I have to make them now. So my husband's only at home for about 4 evenings a month, so because he's out working on shifts and so on. So on the 4 evenings that he's at home, I'm standing at the door when he pulls up outside at 7 o'clock. I'm standing out waiting to go out. So you have to decide whether that's sort of something that's important for you, and how much you're going to commit to stuff. So on here, on the right hand side where it's got like the vision board in writing, this was my original vision board for about the first 9 months of Arbonne. This was as written by my, at the time, 9-year-old. So when your 9-year-old and your 2 other children are like following your journey and wanting you to kind of help to deliver things, that is a pretty good reason to get up out of bed, because they want to see you make progress. And I'm really excited for my children to see that mummy can build a business as well. For me personally, that's really important. So you see there's a few things on there, bless them, they wanted me to be able to go to their class assemblies and a few other things like that, take them on holidays and so on. And then just recently I redid my vision board, which is the pretty pictures bit on the left there, which for me was a really, really important exercise. And I did that with the family. So the children and my husband all contribute to what they wanted to see on there. And that was really amazing and quite emotional actually to do. So I would say do that, because I learned things that they wanted to be able to do that I could deliver through doing Arbonne, which is brilliant. Oh, okay, all a bit funny about it. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable. So you basically have to have a really strong goal, and that's what will keep you going every single day. Okay, the next tip is you have to understand that this is a business. So you need to invest in any business. So although it's really cheap to start Arbonne, you don't have to pay thousands and thousands of pounds like you do with any other franchise. You do have to do some level of investment. And depending on how quickly you want to grow your business will partly depend on how much you want to invest up front. So you do really, I cannot say how important it is to be a product of the product. I literally use every single Arbonne product in the whole catalogue now, I think. I didn't at the very beginning. Obviously, I've built that up over the weeks and months when I could afford stuff and things ran out and so on. But it means that every day I get up, I brush my teeth, my Arbonne toothpaste, I put on my Arbonne deodorant, I do my RE9, I use my shampoo, my conditioner, I have my protein shake. And so all through the day. That's reinforcing to me the commitment to Arbonne, but it's also meaning that I can talk personally about the improvements I've seen in my life and in the children's life and the family's life, and our skin and our hair and our bodies, from an absolutely authentic, personal way. So I cannot reinforce how important that is to be a product of the product. And the quicker you can get to using the products yourself, the more passionate you'll feel about how you can talk about them. And in terms of investing, so I knew that I wanted to build my business up as quickly as possible. So I invested a certain amount, probably a few £1,000s over the first sort of 2 or 3 months. And I didn't have any money to do that. So for me personally, the right thing to do was I took out a little loan, which I'll finish paying off next month, I think. It's over a year. I took it out, so I paid back a couple of £100s or something a month. And that was the right decision for me personally, because I wanted to build my business quicker. So for example, I wanted to have the makeup so that I could do makeovers, and I wanted to have the 30 days so that I could talk about the 30 days. You don't have to do that, but if that was the right thing for me personally, so that I can build stuff up. It's a bit like if you have a restaurant, you can't just kind of get the first people in and go, well, I'll decorate the restaurant when I've had a few more customers in. Like, you have to kind of get it looking a little bit spanky, like you've got an actual business. So just think about kind of what you think's right for you and your customers and your customer base and so on. I've put on there enough to make you feel a bit uncomfortable. The other thing was, I guess I'd invested enough that I thought, right, I better make this work now. So there we go. Okay, then it's about actually getting into income producing activity and being prepared to work hard. And you have to accept that at the beginning, you're working really hard for not very much financial return, because that's just how any business is. So a normal bricks and mortar business, I reckon it's 3 to 5 years before the business breaks even. Our business is much, much quicker than that, but you're not going to see big money in the first few months. You're going to see a tremendous amount of hard work, but not very much activity. And you just have to accept that that is how it is in any business. And that's fine. That's just how it is, especially if you want to grow your business quickly. So personally, I wasn't really sure what I was really doing at the beginning. So I gave myself 100 days, a bit like you might see Barack Obama or something like that, a politician, that you're judged after your first 100 days. So I was like, I'm going to work really hard for 100 days and see what happens and see what I can make of this business. When I joined, there was like a plan, the system that said you grow your business 1,500 QV, 2,500 QV, 3,500 QV over the first 3 months. And that was pretty much what I tried to do. And your energy and enthusiasm is highest in those first few months. So if you can, just crack on and get going. And then there's an amazing book called The Compound Effect that I completely love. And it talks about many different examples of how you need a lot of energy to get anything going. So whether you're thinking about an aeroplane taking off, I think it's 90% of the fuel of an aeroplane is expended in takeoff, and that then once you level out and you're flying, you hardly need to use any. Or whether you're pumping a water pump and you've got to like pump furiously at the beginning to get the water to start flowing, or pushing a roundabout at the beginning when your child's on the roundabout and you're really, really pushing. So it takes a lot of energy to get anything going. So once you're starting your business, or whether you're at the beginning or whether you've made the decision to go to promotion and you want to kind of restart your business, I suppose, or re-engage with it, you've got to expect that you put in a lot of energy at the beginning, and then it'll start to kind of come easier as we go along. So my picture on the bottom right there is I did a stall at the school Christmas fair. I think it was 6 days after I'd registered. I didn't know anything what was going on. And the second half of it, I was face painting down the road and my mum was running the stall. So it was all craziness. But the thing was, we just kind of got into activity really quickly. So that was that. Tip 4, understand that you're building for the future and you kind of need to be all in and consistent, not constant. So I don't work constantly because I'm in my other business, I'm taking my children to all their activities, but I'm every single day. I doubt that there's been a single day in the last year that I haven't done something to do with Arbonne, and it's that consistency that's really important. I've put a few little pictures there. One of them, this one about the joy of entrepreneurship, I think Danny posted a couple of days ago, and I love this. That is pretty much how it feels. So the first little bit of starting any business is a bit kind of scary, and you kind of think, oh, this is what am I doing? And then it kind of gets better and better with little dips and ups and downs along the way. But you have to understand that building any business takes time. So you have to have a sort of medium to long-term view that you're building. All the work you're doing at the beginning is for building for the future, and stick with it, and understand that where you're going is like something that's in 2 to 5 years, and then maybe 5 years plus, and that's where you get your incredible growth. The little graph is something that Executive National Vice President Sarah Dunning, she's a 5-wide National Vice President, one of the highest earners in the UK. She put this graph up when we went to AAC and I absolutely loved it. So she had 2 years of very little happening in the business and then tremendous growth, which is just incredible. And everything you're doing at the beginning is building the foundations to your business, and that is so incredibly important, more important than building income initially. It's about building the initial client base and your own skills. So when you think about building the foundations of a house, that for ages the digger is down in the ground just digging out a hole, and it's not necessarily, you're not seeing the growth of the thing that you've paid good money for, and you're like, I've spent a lot of money and all I've got is a hole full of concrete. But if you don't build those foundations firm, then if you start putting the bricks on, the house will fall down. But if you build the foundations firmly, that then you like nip to the shops and you go past a building site and you come back and they've put on another story on the house. And that's how our business kind of grows, that everything you're doing at the beginning is building that initial client base and those initial skills, and that they will be what will then take you into like the future years, because that initial client base will help take you there. And when you have the little dips and the bits where your heart sinks and then no one turns up to your party or whatever, you just push on through and it's all good. Okay, then in my opinion, you need to have a business plan, because if you're going to make this a really big success, like build a big business, you need to remember it's actually a business. So when you go down to, you know, your department store, your chemist or the supermarket, they don't just like turn up to work and see what happens and occasionally open. They open every single day, and they've got a business plan that's for like a year or 2 years time. So the retailers out in the market now, if you go to the shops, they're not planning for this Christmas, they're planning for next Christmas. So you need to have ideally that vision about what the business plan is. And in my opinion, really ideally you want to have at least a rolling 3-month plan. So you're not just lurching from one month to the next, that you say now you're planning through to the end of January. And that then what I do, like you'll see the little red sort of picture, red writing in the top right there. So what I coach my team to do is try and break down their goals. So if you say, right, I'm going to be a bonusing district, or I'm going to be a district management qualification, break your activity then down. And I use some just rough averages, so people can work out their own averages about how much QVs they might get from a particular group events or samples or trials and sponsoring new people. And then all I do is I literally write the names on the document like that, of who I'm seeing each week, each month, and then if I haven't got, and I tot up what I think I'm going to get out of it just based on averages, and then if I haven't got enough activity to achieve that goal, then I go back and I look for a way to find more activity to fill my diary more to get to that goal. What else? Then what else have I got on there? So yeah, break down your QV, understand the success plan. So that little bit at the bottom with the coloured columns. If you're new and you don't really know how the success plan works, make sure you understand that, so you know what goals you want to get to by when and how that's going to impact your income and that sort of thing. Go after all the incentives that Arbonne set if you possibly can. So Arbonne are very clever and very sensible, that they give us things that tell us how to run our business. So over the summer, for example, they did, you know, you got a jug and glasses set, you got various sort of lunch boxes and stuff like that for doing the 2,500 new and you, and those are basically helping you to build a strong business. So go after those incentives. Remember that you're in retail, so now I absolutely love walking around the shops because I'm totally fascinated by how retailers work, by how they email me. So I'm now on millions of shops email lists to see how frequently they email me, how they use their email list, even if they're a high street shop. So just be interested in retail, because ultimately you've got a shop, and just think about the shop, and understand kind of the goals of those in your team as well. So the bit in the purple writing at the bottom is I have stuck up, I've got it behind me now, a list of where each of the people in my team, what their goals are going to be, when they're going to get to district, when they're going to get to district management qualification, when they're going to bonus, and so on. And that's what we're sort of working on. So I'm helping and coaching them to get to each of those next stages. How are we doing? Well, there we go. Okay, tip 5, follow the system. So we have a system and it's there to help you. So if some of you, I don't know if everyone that's on the call has access to the trackers, but certainly everyone in Danny's area, obviously these trackers, which are the little thing there with all the columns, is a daily tracker. And if you follow that tracker, that will tell you what activity you need to do to have a successful business, to grow your business. So it'll tell you to add more people to your friends list, to do a presentation, speak to a new person, get a sample out. So I cannot recommend highly enough looking at the tracker and following it, ticking it every day. And then the bit on the left is your 40 faces. So like the model, like if you listen to How to Be Successful in Arbonne, it'll be like do a certain number of presentations a month. Now, some people don't like presentations, but if you like events, parties, whatever you want to call them, but if you do say 4 to 8 presentations, or if you don't want to do those, do some other mechanism of reaching out to people, but try to get in front of 30 to 40 new faces a month. So literally that 40 faces, I have that on a list, and I tick and I write the names of the 40 people that I've seen each month. And if I haven't got 40 new people, I go and find a few more to go and talk to. And then, there are systems around reaching out to people on the 30 days. We've got verbiage to help support you. We've got the 30 and 30 business presentations. We've got social media trainings. So just follow the systems, follow the trainings that are on the source, follow the trainings that are on the Do More page, and you can't go wrong, basically. Okay, tip 6, it's all about a balanced business. So you have to run your own shop, which is brilliant. And some people just want to run their own shop, and that's completely fine. So they just want to have their own clients and be an amazing health and wellness consultant. But if you want to build a bigger business, you have to then teach and train other people to do the same. You will never make an enormous business on your own. So you have to kind of do both of those two parts. And when you're doing that, for me, I think what's been helpful is you have to make it about the team and about the people in the team. And it's not about you. So when I'm thinking about sponsoring people, I'm genuinely thinking about who are the people I can help that will benefit from being in Arbonne. And when I'm talking to people, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not thinking about me, I'm thinking about them. And then when I'm coaching and supporting them in the team, it's not about where I'm going to be with my QBs, it's about where they're each going to be. So helping each of those people in the team achieve their goals. And I absolutely love sponsoring people into Arbonne. And when you love sponsoring people and you see how much people benefit and grow, it's incredibly easy to then sponsor more people, because you know how powerful it is and what an amazing gift it is for people. So the more people you sponsor, the easier it becomes, because you see how people grow. So what will eventually make my business successful is these amazing people. Yay! So these are all the people who I have personally sponsored, more or less. I'm hoping I've not forgotten anyone. So for me, like when each of the people here has become successful and achieved their goals, then by virtue of that, then my whole business is successful. And then these are all the new people who I didn't know before, who have been sponsored by people who I did know, which is amazing. And so again, when these amazing people here, and I think I have got a few who are not on here yet, so I'm very, very sorry if you're watching this and you're not quite on here yet. So think about who the people are that you can help around you. Okay, tip 7 is about finding your market, because I think sometimes people get a bit confused almost by the whole network marketing thing, and they kind of think they're just going to look at their own friends and suddenly it's all going to magically happen. So in my other business, I didn't have any warm market. So my entire business has always been marketed into the cold market, because I didn't know any babies who wanted to come to a baby class. And so I went to places where people hung out that had babies that wanted to come to a baby class. And I went looking for them, and I marketed. So I went to toddler groups, I went to stuck stuff up on parish notice boards, that kind of thing. And I think it's about, for us in this market, thinking about how the market works. And I talked to my team about them having their very warm market, which is quite small, your immediate friends and family, maybe 30 people. And we all start off in that very warm market. And then after a few weeks, we go, oh, I've run out of people to talk to. But essentially, you've got your very warm market. Then what I talk about is your quite warm market. So you do know those people's names, but you may be less confident about phoning them and getting them to come along to parties and things, but you do know those people. And then you've got your, what I almost call your tepid warm market. So they're all the people you've ever met in the UK, people you've been to school with, people you've been to a baby group with, people you've worked with, whatever it is. So that you've maybe got 500 to 1,000 people you've ever met in your life, even though you probably cannot almost really remember their names anymore. And it's about how do you use that whole market, and because like my clients and my team have come mainly from either my quite warm or my tepid market, and that's where Facebook's been really powerful for me, because I have made connections with people who I haven't spoken to for maybe years and years and years, 9, 10 years, who have been interested. So that's really powerful. Don't expect your very warm market to be interested, and don't cry when your mum or mother-in-law won't buy the RE9 or something, because it's not for everyone, and the fact that they're your friends doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be for them. But then use that warm market to extend into your cold market. So obviously each of those people in your very quiet and warm, or quiet and tepid, all know, say, 5 to 10 people that you might be able to talk to. So that's where I've put the friends and family bit in the middle. So those are people you don't yet know, but if you can access them through, facilitated by people you do know, then that's really, really powerful. So say you can find 10 people within your very quiet and tepid, that then if they can all introduce you to 5 extra people, then that's 50 people you've got access to, facilitated by the people you do know. And then on the right hand side is your completely cold market. So that's accessing people that you don't know at all at the moment, but that you might be able to meet. And don't be frightened of going into that cold market. So I had a coaching call with Chris Isles recently, National Vice President Chris Isles, and he told me they sponsor 80% of their new ICs from the cold market, and they like coach their nation to be really confident about sort of talking to people in the cold market. So that's another whole training, but just sort of just say that. Okay, tip 8, I think you have to be super driven and resilient. So there is no magic secret to being successful in Arbonne. We've all got the same products, we've all got the same market, we've all got the same number of people in the UK or in the world to talk to, and the things that makes a difference is you. So it's whether you are driven and resilient enough to keep cracking on, basically, and doing the work. So that's kind of no, it says in there, results happen over time, not overnight. You have to balance urgency with patience. So you have to be urgent by doing the work, but you have to be patient that sometimes things take 2, 3, 8, 10 months to come off. And so, that's really important. And that sometimes it kind of goes a bit round in whirls. But I think the little quote on the bottom is really powerful, that when a child is learning to walk and it falls down 50 times, they don't go, oh, that's not for me, I'm not going to bother trying to walk. They just keep going and going until eventually they can walk. And I think that's the same for us, that you have to just keep going until you learn how to do it well. And be disciplined. So the discipline is like doing it every day, even if you feel like you don't want to. So something's happened in your personal life, you're suddenly tired, whatever's kicked off, and you think, actually, I just need to get on with it. So what is it? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? And the pain of regret is much worse than the pain of the discipline. So just be disciplined and make yourself do the work before you go to bed at night, even if you don't really feel like it. Okay, tip 9, nearly there, I suppose, is I think it's so important. This is a relationship business, and we need to absolutely, our job is to build relationships and to make our customers feel like this Arbonne is the best thing that they've ever seen in their entire life. And so to be pleasantly persistent, but not spammy. So our job is to find out what makes people tick, learn about them, remember their names, remember their children's names, remember their birthdays, and build those kind of long-term relationships with people. Because what you want to do is find the smallest number of customers who will be the most loyal. You don't want to keep finding new customers. So you want to find, just find and then keep those customers and get them to then help support you and to build your business. So they will then help facilitate you meeting other new people. And so you really need to nurture those customers once you have them. So again, analogy to my other business is when I started, I had no parents and no babies sitting in the classes. So I had to do a lot of work to find the first few. But once I found the first few, I want to keep them basically forever until the children go to school, and for them to then bring their friends and family and their friends that they meet at other groups, so that then I don't have to do the work to market into that group. And Arbonne's a bit the same. So if you can nurture your customers, make them feel loved, and then they will then help you to expose the products to other people. And there's a bit down the bottom left. This is a screenshot that I took at GTC in April, that it's all about relationships bit. And people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And that's what you need to do. And that then, if you can then get your leads to convert to being loyal shoppers who will stay with you. And again, that's the same as any retailer. So the retailers want us to keep shopping. So once we've started shopping at Marks and Spencer, then they keep sending us deals to keep us shopping there, because we can shop wherever we like. So they need to find clever and creative ways to get us to stay with them, and then try and convert, leads to team members, and then absolutely team engagement and retention. So I've been very lucky that my team has a very low turnover. So the people who've come to be part of the team as consultants, we're all an amazing team that's supporting and growing one another and helping. So we don't have many people that come into the team and then decide it's not for them. And then the final bit is about multiple exposures. And again, this is something I talk to a lot with my team, that they say in any marketing, and this was the same when I was in the bank before, that people need 5 to 7 exposures to any business, to any product to buy. And that's why other beauty products and things, they market on the bus shelter, in the magazine, on the television, different places, so that people are getting multiple exposures. So whether you're talking to someone about the product or about the business, it's the same, that the people need multiple exposures. So be creative about how you give people those multiple exposures, because their loyalty to the brand and their commitment to the brand and their lack of sort of less suspicion, I suppose, kind of improves their liking of the brand, improves the more times that they see it. So they're going to see you on Facebook, they're going to see you chatting to them, you're going to give them samples, you're going to invite them to a party, wherever it may be. And then once they've got those multiple exposures, they'll be much keener about coming on board and getting involved in buying. And also it says in there, I think there's kind of 2 versions of the same thing really, about how many times you need to contact someone in order to get a sale. So they reckon about, was it there, 2% of sales are done on the first time that you speak to someone, and 80% of sales are done on the 5th or more time that you speak to somebody. So you need to keep providing those opportunities for people to see what we do in a way that isn't annoying to them, but you'll see the benefit potentially later down the line. So just keep talking to people, just in the same way that I get 3 emails a week from Pizza Express, for example, kind of encouraging me to come and buy a pizza. But nearly all the time I don't want a pizza. But when I want a pizza, I go to Pizza Express because I happen to have an offer, and they mailed me that day and the day before and the day before and the day before. So even if I stand there deleting them in the morning, I'm still seeing their name on the email list. And so it's keeping their name fresh and current in my mind when I'm thinking about, well, who do I go to when I want a pizza? And that's the same for us. And then the last thing is, like, remember that everyone is busy. So people send me messages all the time. I look at them while I've got the kids in the bath or something, and I totally zone out to the fact that they've sent me that message and forget about it. So the fact that someone doesn't come back to you doesn't necessarily mean they don't want it. They just mean that they're busy. So don't just be confident. And last of all, I think for me, it's about building your belief in your skills. So you have to just keep developing your skills, read your personal development books, watch all the trainings to help develop your business skills. Go to listen to the audios, like the Going for Gold, look in the source, and then build your belief in the company and industry. So going to the trainings is amazing. So there's a picture of me there with Stian Moore, there's a picture of me with Stuart Armfield. So when you see the people, like I'm sitting there in a presentation, I'm talking to them about how amazing the company is. It's because I've stood like with Stian Moore. I mean, it's just incredible to see the actual people that are part of this company. So the more that you can get yourself to those events, the more you build your commitment and your belief in the company. Down the bottom is the lovely Regional Vice President Carol Sutton Houghton and myself at the White Party, which is the area manager party at the GTC in Las Vegas, which was pretty standard. I happen to have Carol on my screen at the moment. It was amazing, Carol, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Right, I'm conscious I've gone like massively over time, so I'm sorry about that. But I hope that was kind of useful. It was a whistle-stop tour of my growth and so on. So I wish you all a brilliant week. Go take advantage of this incredible period in retail, so you can do phenomenal things in this time period. So if you think that 40% of the sales in the whole UK are done in this next 6 weeks or so go like double your sales, because you can do anything in this period, and just massively believe in yourself and go spread the Arbonne love. Woo! Okay, brilliant. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a brilliant week.
Caroline, that was amazing.
All right, I'm going to stop recording. Bye, everyone.